And now a little story from the Appleseed.
Marguerite walked into the little examining room, and there was a lady on her phone, and she was just going to town on her phone. She had those little earbuds without the antennas on them, which is going to put the radiation in her head. She was concerned about that. Oh, we don't know what's going to happen with that radiation in your head, and now you have those little things, and you know you're going to lose one, and that will make good people cuss. Little girl, about 7 years old, she's got a lollipop in her mouth, and she's going at it with the lollipop. She's trying to tear the wrapper off the lollipop. Marguerite could tell that this mama and this little girl had just come back from the bank because the label of the bank was fading quickly on that lollipop. Marguerite hoped that was food-based ink. The mama was in her phone. She couldn't hear what was going on. Hello. The mama kept playing on her phone. Hello! Marguerite didn't realize it, but the lady was playing Candy Crush while her daughter was trying to crush candy. Finally, Marguerite waved her hand in front of the lady and said, Hello, may I help you? Oh, Dr. Van Camp, it's so good to see you. And it was time for this little girl to have her examination before school that year. So Marguerite did that, and she had to get a couple of shots for her inoculations. And finally, after that was all over, and the little girl was kind of crying, but Marguerite wasn't going to give her a sucker because she was still going at it. Do you have any questions before we proceed with the rest of everything else? We're finished. Do you have any questions you're concerned about? And Marguerite could tell this lady had rehearsed this. She said, Dr. Van Camp, is there anything you can say to my daughter to instill in her heart to go for a life of more healthful living? That's a mouthful, isn't it? I got to tell you, the gymnasium at the college near my house, the name of it is now the Center for Healthful Living, which means we've taken the last of Latin out of higher education. Gymnasium, which literally means naked room. Look it up. I didn't make that up. Anyway. Well, Dr. Van Camp, can you say anything to my daughter? Well, Marguerite didn't want to be in charge of this daughter's parenting, and she was thinking, what could she say? Well, I mean, we've been hearing about the President's Council of Physical Fitness ever since Robert Preston sang, Go, you chicken fat, go. And the efforts of Michelle Obama. So Marguerite rolled her little stool over to the counter. She loves her rolly stool. When she was a little kid, her grandfather had a rolling chair. She wasn't allowed to play on it. But she's 85 now. She can roll all she wants. She rolled over. She picked up her prescription pad. When she picked up her prescription pad, she started to think. And she pulled out her father's fountain pen. She loves this pen. It's a pre-cartridge Schaefer fountain pen. This is the pen that he would write notes to her with. When she was a little girl, when she did something that her father didn't approve of, he didn't scold her, he didn't even talk. He wrote her a note. He had big business stationery that was to be typed, and he had little business stationery for writing. And he would write the little note to her. He would date it at the top, opening and closing salutations. A while back, not too long ago, Marguerite was cleaning out books. She was pretending that she was going to throw some out. And she came across a copy of God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater by Kurt Vonnegut. She loves that book. Her father never got to read the novels of Kurt Vonnegut, but her father loved the short stories of Kurt Vonnegut in the Saturday Evening Post. And she thought about her father when she read that book, and marking a particular passage that she loves, she found one of those notes with her father's fountain pen. And she opened the book and opened the note. She could tell by the date that she had been 9 years old when she got this one. And it simply read, Dear Marguerite, don't open stuff with your teeth. Love, Papa. That's where this note belonged. She folded it back. She put it back in the book. So when she pulled out the fountain pen, she rolled back over to the little girl, and she said, Shayla, how do you spell your name? And the mama said, say, my name is Shayla. My name is spelled S-H-Y. Shayla, how do you spell your name? S-H-A-Y-L-A. Shayla, do you know what a prescription is? Dr. Marguerite, she's just a little girl. She doesn't know what a prescription is.
Shayla, do you know what a prescription is?
The little girl shrugged.
A prescription is a set of instructions that a doctor writes to a patient. I'm going to write you 3 prescriptions. Is that all right?
Shrug. Marguerite rolled back over. She wrote the first prescription. She rolled back over to Shayla. She handed Shayla the prescription and read it out loud.
That says, eat plenty of fruits and vegetables of various colors.
Marguerite knew that Shayla's mama was Southern, so she said,
and remember, broccoli should be green, not olive drab.
Because we do overcook vegetables in the South, y'all. And then she rolled back over, and she wrote another prescription, tore it off, and rolled back over to Shayla. And it read,
go outside and play. Make sure you run, and make sure you get dirty.
Shayla laughed. She took the sucker out and she laughed. Nobody had ever told her to get dirty before. And then Marguerite rolled over one more time. She thought carefully. She wrote the prescription. And she pulled out her father's Schaefer pocket knife and laid it on the counter. She keeps that knife with her everywhere she goes, and she uses it every single day. She uses it when she goes to the grocery store to buy grapes. When she buys grapes, she's going to taste 2 grapes before she buys them to find out if they're worthy of it for her to bring them home. And then, you don't want to go home with sour grapes. And then she takes the knife and she puts them in the bag to be weighed with the grapes. The knife weighs more than 2 grapes. She's not going to steal grapes. That's one way she uses the knife. Another way she uses the knife is when she goes out to eat. She usually goes to the Townhouse Cafe, a little place in our town. There's the old Mr. Ham who runs the place. Now his son Cedric has taken over. Marguerite always uses a straw. I know straws have been getting bad press, but Marguerite has the Parkinson's, and she has to use a straw. It used to be a plastic straw with a paper wrapper, but now Cedric buys these black straws with clear wrappers. It's more formal. It's new packaging that she can't open, and she knows, and this is true, a lot of packaging is designed to make old people die more quickly. And there at the restaurant, she looked at that straw, and she pulled out the knife. And she opened the large blade, and everybody's sort of watching this old lady with Parkinson wielding a knife in the restaurant. It took her 3 tries, but she finally got the tip of the knife on the end of the straw, and she pulled the straw. Success. She's not going to die of dehydration today. So there, in the examining room, she pulled out the knife. She laid it there. She pulled out 3 paper towels. She rolled over to Shayla. She presented the paper towels in the palm of her left hand at Shayla. She looked at the paper towels, looked at the little girl, looked at the paper towels, looked at the sucker. Finally, the little girl took the sucker out and placed the sucker on the paper towels. Marguerite rolled back over to the counter. She opened the knife. Shayla's mom said, She touched the tip of the knife on the lollipop. She pulled the lollipop away. She rolled back over to Shayla and handed her the open lollipop. Shayla had no incisors. She'd been doing all that work with her molars. Molars are not for that. And then she tore off the prescription and handed it to Shayla. And the prescription said,
Dear Shayla, don't open stuff with your teeth. Love, Dr. Marguerite.
Thanks for joining us for a little story from the Appleseed.